un-Challah, Perek Gimel, Mishnah Yud. Okay, we're going to talk about the last Mishnah about mixtures. Says the Mishnah, Hanotel seor mi'isat chitim. If you take seor, remember we talked about this idea of starter dough from isat chitim, from wheat dough, and you didn't take off truma yet. Excuse me, you didn't take off challah yet. So it's chayav and challah. V'noten b'toch isat orez, and I have a rice dough. So I took my wheat dough and I put it in rice dough, and rice dough, of course, as we know, is not chayav and challah. So therefore, do I have to take off challah, or do I not have to take off challah? Let's just remind you that we said in the Mishnah before, if you took seor of isa, wheat isa that didn't take off challah, and you put it in isa that has, then you have to, if you can't add dough or whatever, motzi challah achat alakol. You have to start over. You have to take challah on everything. So here, and it's no matter how much you put in, even if you put in a tiny amount of new dough into dough that already had challah taken off, if you have no more flour to add, then you have to take off challah on the whole thing. So now you take starter wheat, and you put it in orez, in rice. So the Mishnah, if the new dough has enough wheat that you have the taste of dagan, you taste the wheat, then it's chayav and challah, the whole thing. Ve'im lav, and if I think the whole thing, hold on, chayav b'challah. Okay, the Kahati says he didn't say it. He doesn't say the whole thing. Okay, I would look that up. Ve'im lav, and if not, Turah, okay, since there's no time. In case, so the Mishnah says, what's the difference between this Mishnah and the Mishnah that I showed you 2 Mishnayot ago, Mishnah Ched, which said you had to take off on the entire thing. Why do we say that if you get tevel mixed into dough which had challah taken off of it, it's oser koshu, it makes the whole thing asur, and I have to start over, I have to take off. Let me read this again. Im kain, I read it wrong. Lama amru tevel oser koshu. Why did in the Mishnah 2 Mishnayot ago, so we say that tevel is oser any amount. If I take any amount of starter dough that didn't have challah taken off, and I mix it in my old dough, I have to do truma on the whole challah on the whole thing. As the Mishnah says, min b'mino. That's only if it's min b'mino. Chita in chita. But shelo b'mino, b'notein tam. But if it's min b'she'eno mino, if I took wheat and put it in orez, then it's b'notein tam. Okay? Hani mili b'mino, the Bartinura says. Ava shelo b'mino, like chitin in orez, b'notein tam. Why? The tam b'tevel b'kolshru. Why do we say that tevel is asur b'kolshru? Any amount. If I put non-challah taken off of dough into challah dough, any amount. Mishum de hetero kach isuro. The rule is hetero kach isuro. The way you make something mutar, chita achat v'teret tetakri. Remember we said the oraita, any amount of challah, if you take off any amount, then you're patur. The Rabbanan added the 1/24th or the 1/48th as we learned. But since any amount is enough to make it mutar, kach isuro, any amount is enough to make it asur. That's only relevant if it's min b'mino, if it's wheat in wheat. We don't say hetero, the heter, there's no heter of orez dough, so therefore it would only be in min b'mino. All right, we'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, as always, email me at aspoto@gmail.com. We'll dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, Reb Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.